Regulations restrict supply. One of the possible side effects of regulating a particular industry might be to restrict the supply of a particular good or service, but people who often provide this particular point do so in order to make the case that regulations are there specifically to restrict the supply of goods and services. The commenter who made this suggestion also went as far as to say that regulations of the healthcare industry in the UK restrict the supply and demand of medical services. This is a rather dishonest tactic. Regulations might well have the possible side effect of restricting access to medical doctors, for example, but that is not the intended function. Governments don't set up regulations to restrict supply, demand, or both of a product or service simply for the sake of restricting supply and or demand. In the example of regulations restricting the supply of doctors, they are intended to ensure that only properly trained, qualified, and competent medical staff have the ability to treat patients. Because after all, we're talking about people's lives here, and I for one would not wish to take my chances on a medical practitioner who claimed to be qualified and produced lots of fancy medical certificates that he might have printed off at home, just because libertarians don't want to weather the expense of a public system vetting all of their medical doctors to ensure that those who claim to be qualified actually are qualified to do the job.